Hey guys, Adrian here, Kid Drew, and today I want to talk to you guys about WWDC, the Worldwide Developer Conference 2011 by Apple. Apple had their conference actually 2 days ago, and I didn't get my thoughts up yet for this channel anyways. You can check out my full post and overview because we did do live stream coverage, etc. at youtube.com/digitaldojos and digitaldojos.com for the full blog post I did with pictures, etc. Anyways, guys, sorry as my phone goes off here. I want to talk to you guys about the three things that were mentioned over at WWDC. Number one, I'm gonna try and go over these as not take up too much time for you guys because I did do a full video over at Digital Dojos. Number one, we talked about the first thing they talked about was. Sorry, I was about to say iOS 5, but the first thing they talked about was OS 10 Lion, the next iteration of. Whoops, sorry about that. Don't want that happening. The next iteration of Mac OS 10, and that was dealing with basically most of the stuff we already knew about Lion. We just got a lot of demonstrations. So there's going to be over 250 new features. A lot of the main features were highlighted. Launchpad, we'll get some pictures up. Launchpad, mission control, and just basically the interface, how it looks, and the underlying stuff like in the Mac App Store and the gestures like the two fingers and the four finger swipe and how to navigate around multiple desktops, all that stuff. So really, we just looked over the main features we already knew, and then we looked at some enhancements to applications like full screen applications now with any app like iPhoto, iMovie, and all of that. You can switch between them, full screen apps. So that's a new improvement as well. Along with that, there was some underlying stuff. We saw some new things. I think Photo Booth looked like it was updated a little bit, or maybe it was iPhoto, but when they were using it, they showed some new stuff in there. So, under the fact, we're going to see some underlying, new effects, and some new features added within certain apps like the iPhoto, Photo Booth, etc. But other than that, there really wasn't much that we saw on OS 10 Lion. They just gave an overview of the features that were released early on, and they just said 250 new features were being, added to all of Lion. We did get a price point at $30. $30 is a really, really great price point because, Snow Leopard was priced at $30 at upgrade, but that was more of a minor update. Snow Leopard is based only on speed, while OS 10 Lion is a whole new OS 10 update, and usually those cost $100 up, but they're giving it to you for $30, so that's great on Apple's part. So OS 10 Lion is looking great, and again, we'll have to see when it comes out. I believe they released the developer issue that day, and late fall we'll be seeing, or I think it's late July, we'll be seeing we'll be seeing Lion, so yeah, late July, I believe. Alright, moving on. iOS 5 is the next thing they talked about, and this was huge, huge, huge. This is my favorite part of the keynote. iOS 5 was mainly highlighting everything that we're going to see within version 5.0 and a little bit of 5.1 in iOS. So iOS 5, they want to update a lot of things. The first thing they took a look at was notifications. They released this new thing called Notification Center, which is going to be highlighted around your notifications and how you receive them, a whole new way to get push notifications and missed calls, stuff like that. And this takes a big look at, if you've ever looked at Lock Info or Mobile Notifier for your jailbroken community, this takes all that and it kind of adds its Apple touch to it. So finally, Apple has added something by default that's much better than the original push notification. So again, you can see the pictures there of Notification Center. Along with that, they also add a notification center to your lock screen and stuff like that, and a little swipe down menu easily to access by us, sliding down this top status bar. Some other things they did a lot of things I'm not going to cover, but because there's like small things they did, like the new iPad split keyboard. But some main things they did, releasing new Twitter integration. Twitter is now built into the settings so that it's tied into the phone, and anytime you have a tweet or a Twitter related app, that it'll use your login that you put in by default on the general settings. Safari got some new updates and now has tab browsing on the iPad, and there's a feature where you can kind of pick up from where you're reading off on your iPhone and stuff like that. There's a new thing called Reader, which allows Safari to kind of condense all the information, takes away all the distractions on the page, and just gives you the text and pictures, no ads, no backdrop stuff, just a white backdrop, simplified reading. I think there's a similar app out there. I forgot what it's called out there, but basically Reader is just taking all the distractions and making it your easy to read format on the iPhone and iPad. Along with that, besides that, Safari also just there wasn't much tweaks, just bug fixes. Obviously, they mentioned, and along with that, let me scroll down here. iBooks also got an update. iBooks released something called Newsstand, which is basically iBooks for magazines. They released a magazine. They got magazine publishers to get some pretty popular magazines in technology, fashion magazines, news magazines, and newspapers and all that, all within the Newsstand app. Along with that, it also does over-the-air updates. So it looks for the newest version when the newest version of that newspaper comes out, and it automatically will download it and sync it up for you, so that you can wake up in the morning and you have the latest version of Wired on your iPad, and you can go ahead and start flipping through right away. So really easy and convenient. Along with that, they made a new reminder application. It's pretty simple. You can see it here in the top left here, or wherever. I guess that'd be top right. I'm not sure how the video works. It always flips, I believe. It's simple. It's great. It's built in now, so this kind of it takes a stab at those third-party to-do apps, and Apple's kind of making their own. It's easy and integrated. They do have some great features, like you can add a location-based one. So when you arrive at, like, say for example, you set your location for home, it will remind you to take out the dog. So something like that, and or you can say it reminds you when you get to the store that to buy this or buy that. Really cool. It's kind of built in. They're adding it by default now, which is awesome. Camera got a lot of updates. It has a new shortcut at the home menu. You can quickly access it. You can now use the volume button on the top of your iPhone to take a snapshot. There's a new pinch to zoom in, autofocus lock on the iPhone now, so you can focus on specifically one area and keep it there. They also added grid view. That's, if you've ever heard of in photography, they use the grid view to look at the rule. I think it's called the rule of thirds, if I'm not mistaken. And you can also toggle between grid view and HDR if you'd like. So some great camera features that allow you to quickly access it now, and it's just more efficient and has a lot some upgraded tweaks to it. Mail got some cool stuff too, rich text editors, so you can do bold, italics, and all of that. In some indent features and some tagging features for highlighting certain mail and stuff, so you can search through it much easier. Another big thing, they cut the cord. They've gone completely on wireless on over-the-air updates. You can now not only sync a new iPhone out of the box, or iPod Touch or iPad, without plugging into iTunes. You need no more PC to activate your iDevice. You can simply do it over the air on Wi-Fi and stuff like that. No more PCs required. So they were saying for people who buy them and have no PC, you can easily sync it without having to plug into iTunes at all. Also, you can get updates now over the air, no cable needed, no needing to plug into iTunes. They did this by instead of when you update iOS, anytime, let's say you're going from 5.0 to 5.1, instead of re-downloading everything from when you download 5.1, it's basically a mirror of 5.0 with some new features. It's now just going to look for the new features in 5.1, download those essentials, and keep it on the basis, that same I guess the base download of 5.0, because basically 5.1 is just an upgrade. It's just adding some stuff to 5.0. You don't necessarily need to download those gigs and gigs of files, or you can just download X amount of megabytes of that upgrade. Let's just say it's an iMessage or a messages bug fix, and it's just going to take that bug fix and install that rather than installing the whole big iOS chunk. This is what makes over-the-air iOS updates possible, so that's awesome. So we'll be able to now sync wirelessly. That sounds great. Game Center got some updates. We also received a new thing called iMessages, which is basically an iOS to iOS texting, texting group messaging app, basically like ping or WhatsApp or text-free, but iOS to iOS device. So now iPad to iPad, you can text each other, iPad to iPhone, iPod to iPod Touch, that sort of stuff. And it looks promising, but, depending on how, this is again just kind of something that third-party apps have previewed before, but Apple's taking a stab at now. The last thing they talked about was iCloud. iCloud is what Steve mentioned is the all-new Apple's all-in-one new sync tool. It replaces MobileMe. MobileMe's usual subscription of $99 is now going to be free. Apple quoted that iCloud stores your content wirelessly and pushes it to all your devices. It is integrated with your apps. Everything happens automatically. So basically, you have your Mac, you have your iPad, you have your iPod, and iPhone, and now they can all sync up to the cloud on Apple Storage, and we'll be able to integrate things like calendar, contacts, photos, and stuff like that, and distribute it to your different iOS apps. You can also back up your content through this service. You can back up your camera roll, your device settings, your app data, music, applications, and books from iBooks. You'll be able to sync songs. So let's say you buy a song through iTunes, and it will now be able to push that song from not only up to one iOS device, but 5 iOS devices. So, if you ever had that problem where, you've got a song, you put it on one iPod, but you're using another iPod when you're on the go, and, you forgot to sync it. Well, if you bought it through iTunes, then you can easily just get it and receive it through the air, through iCloud, because iCloud will distribute that song to you. Now, people are talking about Lala and the streaming. Why did Apple buy Lala a couple months back? And the new service through iCloud is called iTunes Match. It's $25 a year, and you're limited to 5 gigs of data. But let's say, what about that music you burned off of a CD or anything like that? What about that music that you put into iTunes? If you put this music into iTunes, not only will it allow you through iTunes Match, if you pay $25 a year, to take that music and put it into the cloud, but it will also do excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Not only will iTunes Match allow you to use those songs that you've gotten from CDs and stuff like that, and not purchase through iTunes, but it will upgrade. It will upload it to the cloud, and it will upgrade the quality to 256 kilobits per second, high quality. That's audio. Basically, I think it's bits. I'm not sure if it's. I think that's what audio uses. Anyways, it upgrades you to 256 high quality audio, and it allows you to then take that music and distribute it to your iOS devices. It is limited to 5 gigs of data, but again, you can take that CD collection that you have, put it onto iTunes, and then you can now get a digital copy, upgraded digital copy of it, if it is in iTunes, if that song's in iTunes, and you can take it on the go via iClouds. Documents for business users are now able to sync as well. Along with that, iCloud is just basically a cloud storage for Apple devices and allows it to distribute out to the main iCloud is free, but everything else like that, iTunes Match and stuff, will cost you money. Alright, so overall thoughts on I should say WWDC. iOS 5 is looking promising, it's looking great. They added a lot of stuff that jailbroken users already had, to be honest, and me being a jailbroken user, nothing super new, but it's great to see Apple include it by default. This makes it easier for the users, and those users who haven't jailbroken yet, they do get some promising features. So iOS 5 is looking great, can't wait till that comes out. But again, nothing new, but it is great to have it by default. It kind of, for the users who jailbroke specifically for those features, they may not need to jailbreak anymore. OS X Lion, nothing much. We just saw demonstrations. It's looking promising. I'm definitely going to buy it once it comes out. It's going to be released via the Mac App Store, so $29 for that, $30. Cheap price, great pricing point. Can't wait to see it, and I'll be sure to get a review of that once that comes out. And lastly, iCloud. iCloud was a little interesting, and to be honest, I'm not sure exactly how much the popularity with this is going to go, because MobileMe wasn't as popular, but iCloud certainly does a lot of things that MobileMe didn't. I'm definitely going to be interested to see how this iCloud works, because it's doing a lot of wireless and relying on the internet for a lot of stuff, for storage, for accessing music and all that. And with other competitors like Google and Amazon in the market already out there, I want to see how Apple does. So I will be taking a look into iTunes Match and iCloud definitely to see how those features work and turn out. Mainly, the conference, Apple really aimed at adding a lot of stuff that was there already on the iPhone jailbroken market and on the whole third-party market. A lot of these stuff that they've made, their own apps like iMessages, is kind of competing with third-party apps like Text-Free, WhatsApp, Ping, and stuff like that. So it's definitely great to see competition, but it kind of sucks for those third-party developers. But again, it's always great to see stuff on the device by default, no need to install stuff. And we'll see how that works. Anyways, guys, this has been my thoughts on WWDC. Love to hear what you guys thought. Read my full blog post below. Check out my full in-depth detailed video with pictures and stuff like that, or more in-depth post, I should say, over at youtube.com/digitaldojos. And guys, for that, I want to say thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and also give the video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.